Matt's a special guest today because he actually worked on the film. I'm going to start by asking him some questions about that experience and just kind of how your career has progressed since then, because I know you've worked on like a bunch of big stuff. Like you worked on season 2 Mandalorian, you worked on Thor Ragnarok, you got some big stuff under your belt. And I know our relatives always say that they're proud of how much you've accomplished, but I hope it means a little more for me, because like I graduated 2 years ago and I've touched 3 indie features that are not finished. So I'm just blown away by that.
Living the dream.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about that experience.
So I graduated school in 2012 from Ringling College of Art and Design. And actually when I was a junior going into my senior year, so a rising senior, I guess, I interned at Sony Imageworks as a lighting artist. Well, it would be called a lighting intern, I guess. But so I was part of that little training program, and we had probably, I want to say there were like 12 or so interns in our group, and everyone kind of had different disciplines. Like there were a couple people who were in animation, some people in lighting, layout. Like it was a bit of a mixed bag. And there was actually no guarantee that we were going to work on any productions. It was really just a training program, and like we were learning the tools at Imageworks and, you know, being thrown into the meat grinder as far as like, you know, having to learn the protocols and like understanding Linux, which I had never touched before in my life. Even learning how to open the program seemed like such a hurdle for me at that time, because I would not consider myself like on the super technical side of the spectrum as far as like 3D animation is concerned. I think that some people tend to veer more towards like the art school of thought, and then some are more on the technical side, and both have their pros and cons, but I would consider myself like probably 2/3 artistic, 1/3 technical. So even just like trying to understand the basic protocols of like getting up and running at Sony seemed like pretty monumental at the time. But long story short, we had a really good group of people with us in the training program, and we were able to make it through all of our like test exercises. And actually the first lighting test that I did, I believe, was Arthur in the sleigh barn, like the classic Santa sleigh, like Grand Santa's sleigh. And that was just awesome. Like, so once we were done like with the training exercises that were like the basic, like here, light a ball and like understand how the lighting works, which is like super boring, right? You're just lighting like a sphere on like a ground plane, and you're just like pulling your teeth out trying to get past that stuff. And all of us were pretty desperate to work on a film, right? Because as interns who are still in school, this is like our one shot to like get a foot in the door, you know, and actually have an opportunity to create something for the studio. So we were just trying to get through the training portion as fast as possible so that we could get onto production. So once we finished those training exercises, like I was saying, the first like real introduction to production was the sleigh barn shot with Arthur. And that was actually the shot that all of the lighters who were getting onboarded onto the show did as a test. So basically when you're learning the sensibilities of the directors and of the visual effects supervisor and the lighting leads and everything, at least in that department, you come on and you complete the test shot before you get rolled on to real shots for the film, right? So you're just trying to get used to the tools for that show. So I just remember having a blast working on that shot of Arthur in the sleigh barn, and then you know, eventually I was able to get that approved, and we started rolling onto real production shots after that.
Awesome. Yeah. And any other things that you've worked on that you want to kind of talk about, just like as far as how your career has progressed since then?
Yeah. So I actually interned at Sony twice. So the next summer, actually, I returned as an intern again, but it was a little bit easier to get onto production because I had already been through like the regular training there. And so that time around I was working on, so I think there were a couple things in production, if I'm remembering correctly. The original Hotel Transylvania was in production. So like Gendy Tartakovsky was there, and we were like, you know, we were getting like training classes from him where he would be like talking about his experience with like Samurai Jack, and like just talking about his sensibilities just as far as animation was concerned. Like he's got a very particular style and stuff, so it was just awesome to learn from people like that. And also Marcello Vignali, who's production designer at Sony Animation, he ran a sketch club like right down the street from the studio actually. And so every Friday during lunch he would just have people come and draw for like an hour or so, and I made it a habit to go every single time. And a lot of the time he was bringing like people who were story artists or directors, so like Cody Cameron and Chris Pern and like a lot of the people who went on to like direct stuff after at Sony were just like sitting there sketching. So that was really cool. I made a lot of good long-term connections just attending that sketch club. And the production that I was actually on during that internship was Oz the Great and Powerful. I got a couple of shots in on that film.
Nice.
And I think it's important to remember also, like as an intern, you're not churning through shots the same way you would be as like a regular production artist. So like now on a production, I'm just cranking out shots like day by day pretty much. As an intern, you've got like 2 shots, maybe 3 shots over the course of the whole summer, because it takes you a lot longer just to get through them, you know?
Right.
So it's more of a learning experience, but it was really cool. As interns, we had like mentors that we were working with on a daily basis, and I had 2 mentors there. One was named Puya Gobadpour, and the other guy's name was Jason Madsen. And they're just both incredible lighting artists, and I worked with them a bunch, and they just like had a bunch of great feedback, and they just really helped me grow in that department. And then later when I left Sony when the internship ended, I should say, and I left, I headed straight to Disney Animation for their training program, which kind of like catapulted me into like the next portion of my career. And like those couple initial career steps, I think were pretty critical for like the trajectory of my career since.
I just slid my ticket across the table and I said, "Sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl."